Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. I'm Mikkel. So today I am going to be continuing my seer series. So I'm going to be adding this video to that playlist. So I'm going to be talking about snakes today. I'm going to be talking about rats. I'm going to be talking about alligators, those animals that kind of relate to deception. And I say relate to deception because oftentimes when it comes to spiritual symbols, they're multifaceted, meaning depending on the context, the meaning can change, right? So we're going to be talking about it in the context of deception, and even that is going to be subjective to you. It's going to be subjective to a different person because we all experience and take in things differently, but that's pretty much the gist. And the reason that I wanted to talk about this specifically is because I feel like deception is closely related, or can be closely related, to spiritual warfare. And I feel like a lot of seers, they see a lot of spiritual warfare. And I'm not talking about in terms of like, I'm not talking about in terms of like them dealing with the spiritual warfare, a lot of spiritual warfare. I mean, of course they can, but I'm talking about in terms of what they see in other people's energy, because seers are able to see not only in their energy, but they're able to see into other people's energy. So to just make more sense, let's just take gifts for example, right? No gift in particular, just gifts, for example, gifts that people have. When people have it set in their mind that they want to know certain things, or they have that intention of getting a divine message, that is someone using their gift actively, like actively using their gifts when they go and set out to get whatever answer or message that they may want. And then there's that other side of it, of even though you're not actively seeking out answers, sometimes our gifts are still being used passively, to where we're able to still get different messages even when that's not necessarily our intention. So for example, if you're clairaudient, you could be laying down, relax or whatnot, or you could be meditating, and it's not necessarily your intention to hear anything in that moment, but because you're in a state of relaxation, maybe passively you start hearing spirits, or maybe passively you are just like in your car and you hear a song on the radio. That's you passively using your gift. Clairsentience, that's another one. So sometimes people go to different places, regardless of where it's at, they go to different places, and it's not necessarily their intentions to feel the energy in the room or feel how other people are feeling, but passively they could go in a room and be around someone and feel that they're happy, or feel that they're sad, or feel that they have shame or guilt or fear, any type of emotions, and they're just kind of absorbing it, right? Even if that's not their intentions. That's why people oftentimes like to ward their energy before they leave the house, or wear things to protect their crown, or wear certain crystals to just not absorb so much energy and not let it affect them. But that's another way of someone passively using their gifts. So I was saying all those examples to say that seers too, they also have their gift where it's used in passive mode, right? And I can speak for me personally, and I'm pretty sure if you're a seer, you can relate to. I know some other seers can relate, but when it comes to that ability being used passively, a lot of the times I'm passively seeing into other people's energy, right? And of course there's things you can do to kind of limit it being so overbearing. That's with any gift. You can have like certain boundaries and stuff put into place, but just in general, when the gift is being used passively, for me personally, I'm seeing into different people's energy, whether I know them, whether I don't know them, whether they're famous, whether they're not famous. I'm just passively seeing into other people's energy. And I think, again, a lot of people can relate when they have this ability, that majority of the things that I see when looking into other people's energies unintentionally, I see things dealing with spiritual warfare, right? A lot of things dealing with spiritual warfare. I feel like probably 85% of the things that I see with other people is the things that they're dealing with spiritually, whether it's with themselves or whether it's with other people. Speaking for myself, and I know I am currently speaking for other people too, there are seers. A lot of the times, because we passively see into other people's lives, we often find ourselves helping people deal with their spiritual warfare when it's our place, right? And I can do a different video over when it's not necessarily our place, when we passively see things, because just because you passively see things doesn't mean it's your place to intervene, because sometimes spiritually you're not supposed to intervene, because people sometimes have to go through different seasons and have to learn certain lessons, so it's not always, you know, your place to tell them certain things or intervene. And I can explain that in a different video. But for the most part, sometimes when I see things passively and I know the person and I know, okay, I have the right to intervene and help them, that's exactly what I do, right? Because sometimes as seers, you're not just going to see what's currently going on in their energy, but you have the ability to see a vision or even have a dream where you see things that could happen in the future. So that just brings me back to what I'm talking about today: snakes, rats, and alligators. Because as a seer, and as you develop your seer abilities, you're often going to probably find yourselves in situations where you're helping different people with spiritual warfare. And so when it comes to deception, you probably will see a lot of that in other people's energy, and you may see things like snakes or rats or alligators or whatever. And it's best to kind of familiarize yourself with that and other stuff too that kind of deals with spiritual warfare, so you're able to better help them, right? And I know for myself, I know some people can relate as well. A lot of the times when I have certain dreams or whatever, a lot of the times when I'm given information about someone else's problems, God and my ancestors, they always give me a solution, right? They always tell me how to fix it. Sometimes I already know how to help that person and fix the situation, but a lot of times God and my ancestors, they will tell me how to fix it too. So the first one is snakes. And this is my own perception. This is how I perceive it, so I can go back to whoever to better give them a better assessment of what they need to know, right? So this is just how I perceive it, right? So with snakes, snakes is always going to be for me that depicts a person that you have let get close to you, or you're going to in the future let get close to you, someone that you probably have let your guards down with, and they're someone who's going to or have the ability to trick you or manipulate you or betray you or lie to you, right? They have those type of abilities. And when you think of like a snake in general and how it symbolizes like people being close to you and in your space, you think about snakes and how like they're able to get in like micro spaces. When you have like little openings and things around your door, that's how they're able to get in your house. Or you think about like how in general snakes, they can camouflage themselves, right? So they can be next to a building and be the color of a building. They can be in the grass and camouflage themselves to be a part of the grass, so you don't necessarily see the snake. So when it attacks you or get to you, sometimes it's out of nowhere because they blend in so well. So it's like the whole blendedness of like people just being able to be close to you, and you're not necessarily perceiving them as someone that can attack you because you've let your guards down and you're not necessarily seeing who they are. So that is just kind of how I put my own take on what a snake is. And then so when I'm going to another person and I'm seeing snakes, I can know, like, okay, obviously this is a person that's close to you, right? And of course, depending on the context of the dream and what's happening, a lot of times too, I can narrow it down to who it is. But just in general, I know, like, okay, obviously this is a person that you're either close to or you may be close to in the future. So it's best to kind of, you know, not have your guard down and be very careful with who you're letting around you. Kind of be aware of what people are doing, what people are saying, and their motives and intentions, right? But again, a lot of the times with the dreams, at least for me, I can narrow it down to who it's about. But overall, it's someone that's close to you. So the next one is rats. And rats is a little bit different from snakes, right? Because like snakes, it's more so like you got a Judas around you, right? Like you got someone that seems like they have good intentions for you, but then in the end they betray you. That's, oh, hey, my love. That's more of like a Judas thing in life, right? A rat is a little bit different because that more so represents a person that brings like toxicity into your life. Like they're very toxic to you and in your life. They kind of mess with your mental health. They bring you down. They bring you sadness. These are people that simply have the ability to destroy your life, ruin things in your life. Because when you really think of rats, they're so small, but they're very destructive in general, right? Like they can come into your home and literally destroy anything. So like your clothes, they can chew through them, the flooring, wires in your home, like the foundation, anything dealing with the foundation. And I think that's also another good thing to note, like how I'm saying how like they come into your home and destroy things, because home is another one of those things that symbolizes like your internal world, right? The inner you, your internal world. So they come into your home and literally have the ability to destroy everything and just make it a toxic environment, because not only are they doing that, but rats can make you sick. Like they can leave bacteria and stuff and leave it on the utensils and things that you eat with and around your home to where like it physically makes you sick. So they literally come in and just kind of destroy your environment, right? And so that's literally how these people can be depicted. So like when you see rats in a dream, or when you see rats in a vision or whatever, and it's dealing with another person, you're able to kind of get a better context of what you're actually seeing, so you can go back and tell that person. So if I'm seeing rats, I kind of understand the spiritual warfare for that person, as far as like what they're currently dealing with or what they could be dealing with if they continue to let a certain person in their life, or if they meet a particular person and allow them to be in their life. I can see the type of spiritual warfare, because that is like that very small difference between a snake, seeing a snake, and then seeing a rat, right? Like rats are destructive. So I know whatever the spiritual warfare is that they have going on, this person has the ability to cause them a lot of harm emotionally, as well as like slow down their life and just bring a lot of chaos into it. So that is, you know, that little small difference that make a difference when you are trying to give the message and solution that you need for whoever it is, right? The next one are alligators, right? Alligators. Alligators represent, to me, they represent people that are very dangerous. They're a threat, very abusive, whether that's emotionally or physically, right? And when you think about alligators, alligators are actually apex predators, right? So that means they're the highest in their food chain, and then you have all of the other animals that are beneath them. So that's like a power dynamic that's unfair, right? So that kind of symbolizes again how sometimes these people that symbolize alligators, they're able to really attack you in a way where there is some type of power dynamic. So you can think of it in different ways when it comes to unfair power dynamics. And just because there is a power dynamic don't mean people will take advantage of it, but these are different dynamics where people can take advantage, right? So like, for example, gender. Like sometimes, depending on the situation, a man can have more of power than a woman. Or when it comes to like strength, excuse me, you can be in a situation where someone is able to take advantage in however way that looks because they have more strength, or able to harm you because they have more strength. You can see that in terms of education, you can see that in terms of wealth, you can see that in terms of like age gap, right? Like two people being together and one person being 15, 20, 30 years older, and then using that to their advantage to manipulate someone younger. Like that unfair power dynamic. Just different ways that people can use different power dynamics to their advantage to harm other people. And when you also think about alligators and how alligators, they hide in the water, right? They don't show them full selves, right? A lot of the times when you see videos or pictures of alligators, sometimes all you see is their eyes, right? You don't see their full selves. You don't see the magnitude of how big they are and the type of harm they can cause you, right? So it's kind of the same way with these people, as far as like sometimes it'll be people that they're dealing with or they could come across that can make them feel, secure and feel like they can trust them because of how they come across. But it's not until as time go on that they kind of show them full selves and show their true colors that they then go in to attack them. And sometimes it's by way of using that power dynamic. So yeah, that's pretty much my take on snakes, rats, and alligators. Again, this is a series that I just started, so I have more videos and stuff, but I just thought like this would be a very good video because I do know that as seers, a lot of the times we're able to get visions or premonitions or dreams that just kind of see into people's lives, whether it's intentionally or not intentionally. And a lot of the times, again, just for myself, a lot of the things that I passively see, it's just people dealing with things in their lives, right? And if it's my place to help, I will help. And so these are things that I've noticed, like part of my pattern recognition that I've noticed when it comes to people and their spiritual warfare and the type of people that they could be in battle with, right? So yeah, that's pretty much my take on it. If y'all have any questions, leave it down below, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.